Markle's surrogacy scandal has entered the mainstream media domain.
It sounds fake.
What if I told you the Crown didn't just ignore Harry and Meghan, it outplayed them? That everything we've seen, the interviews, the Netflix deals, the podcasts, the crying on couch moments, was happening on one level, while Buckingham Palace was operating on a completely different level. And that by the time Harry realized what was actually happening, it was already too late. In this video, you're going to see how the monarchy quietly boxed in Meghan and Harry's children, why the rules weren't bent for Archie and Lilibet, what Prince William is preparing to do when he becomes king, and how the Sussex brand may have just lost the single thing that gave.
So Meghan Markle, she decided to post pictures of her kids on set with her for the Netflix show, I guess to try and drum up attention. So now there are all these articles in People Magazine and Us Weekly, everybody's writing about the fact that her kids were on set, they visited her on set. If her show was doing well, if her show was not numbered 1 billion on the Netflix charts, she wouldn't have to use these kids for attention. But this is what she does, right? This is why she wanted to marry a prince. This is why she rushed to have kids. This is why she rushed to have another kid. Because now she has these kids in line for the throne. They're not high up in the line of succession. They're a little bit far down. But she has these kids.
Power, proximity to the crown. And by the end, you'll know whether this was the palace defending tradition or the palace punishing 2 runaway royals. Let's get in.
Buckingham Palace is being pressured to remove Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet from the UK's royal line of succession until the Duchess provides absolute proof that she popped out both babies.
To it. Let's start with a question everyone's afraid to say out loud. Did Buckingham Palace or Prince William set a trap for Harry and Meghan, and did they walk straight into it? Because on the surface, it all looked emotional. Harry saying he was scared he couldn't show his kids his homeland. Meghan saying she was silenced. Them insisting they needed privacy. But their actions told a different story. They said they were leaving for peace and protection and then did more public interviews than any working royal in modern history. They didn't disappear. They rebranded. That's
scandal has entered the mainstream media domain.
It sounds fake. What if one of the most celebrated royal births wasn't what we were told?
It's just the part people miss. Privacy wasn't the point. Control was. They didn't want no attention. They wanted to control the attention. And that's the exact pressure point the palace used against them. Meghan came into the royal family acting like she was going to edit a 1,000-year
make you sound like a better mom. It makes you sound like really kind of into yourself.
Old institution, like an Instagram reel. New voice, new tone, new rules, new narrative. But the thing about Buckingham Palace is simple. It doesn't bend for Netflix, Spotify, or Hollywood PR. It bends for precedent.
This scandal comes as no surprise. Speculation about the children has been simmering for years.
For law, for bloodline, Meghan walked in with celebrity logic. The palace lives on dynasty logic. And those two things crashed the moment she tried to use her kids to stabilize the Sussex brand. Because here's the uncomfortable truth behind so much of their post-royal life. Their children were supposed to be the bridge back into relevance. The look, we're still royal card. The we're in California but still important card. The our kids are prince and princess, so you have to take us seriously.
Does it make you sound like a better mom? It makes you sound like really kind of into yourself.
Card. But the palace saw that coming a mile away. That's why, for years, the palace said nothing. People kept asking, why aren't they responding? Why aren't they clapping back? Why aren't they defending themselves against Oprah, Netflix, Spare, podcasts, speeches, leaks, friends, anonymous sources? Because they didn't have to. When you control the rulebook, you don't argue. You wait. And then you apply the rulebook. And when they finally moved, they didn't drop a spicy interview. They didn't give a tell-all. They didn't leak to tabloids. They used paperwork. Succession rules. Church of England
Describes her very well, and he does this by taking a look.
Absolute media manipulation. But I thought tonight this was really ridiculous.
Protocol. Letters patent. The things Meghan and Harry cannot out-talk, outcry, or out-Netflix. To understand how brutal and brilliant that is, we have to rewind. Back to 1917. King George V. Letters patent. This is the moment the modern monarchy quietly locked the door. He basically said, here's exactly who gets to be prince, who gets to be princess, and who doesn't. Not based on vibes. Not based on popularity. Not based on who did an Oprah interview. Based on blood, position, and proximity to the crown. It was about order. About keeping chancers, opportunists, and distant relations from suddenly demanding royal rank. It was written 100 years before Meghan even existed, but it ended up being the exact weapon used to contain the Sussex saga. Because here's what Meghan and Harry miscalculated. They thought titles were flexible, like brand deals. Do good PR, make the public emotional, play the Diana card, and the monarchy will cave. But the palace doesn't cave to emotion. It survives by resisting it. If it caves once, everyone comes knocking. And that, by the way, is exactly why they didn't publicly roll out the red carpet for Lilibet. Not because they forgot. Because recognition is power. Recognition is entry. Recognition is saying, this child is part of Britain's story. And the palace clearly didn't want to say that. Let's talk about Archie first. May 2019. Perfect royal moment. But immediately things get strange. His birth certificate gets altered. Meghan's name is suddenly removed, replaced with Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. Not Meghan Markle. Not Rachel Meghan. Just the title. And people noticed. Because Diana kept her name. Kate kept her name. So why was Meghan's changed? Was it her choice? Was it the palace's? Was it Harry trying to royalize the record? Was it Meghan trying to erase her old identity? No straight answers. Just confusion. And confusion is dangerous in monarchy paperwork. Because monarchy paperwork is meant to be boring, predictable, traditional. When you step outside of that, you're sending a signal. Something here is not normal. And when something is not normal around a royal baby, it starts conversations Meghan and Harry did not want. Was the palace distancing itself? Were Harry and Meghan trying to keep options open? Why was something so simple suddenly political? That one weird change turned into a doorway for speculation, exactly the sort of thing Meghan says she hated. But it didn't stop there. Because if Archie's situation raised an eyebrow, Lilibet raised the whole crown. Born in California. Announced via PR. Not via the palace. Not via the official channels. No framed notice outside Buckingham Palace. No traditional British fanfare. No London photographers. No St. Mary's Hospital. No royal rota. Just a California press release from two people who said they wanted to leave the institution while still trying to harvest the benefits of the institution. And the palace? Silent. And royal silence is never random. Silence is a verdict. Silence says, we see what you're doing, but we're not validating it. They didn't log the baptism through the Church of England. They didn't treat her birth as a British royal event. They didn't knit her into the official records the way they always do. And that is the key. Because a royal baptism is not just a cute dress and a photo. It's a formal, spiritual, and governmental tie to the monarchy and the church. It's the crown saying, this child is in. That didn't happen for Lilibet the way it happens for children born and baptized inside the system. So what does that mean? It means Meghan and Harry ran their version of a royal life from California. But the crown didn't recognize it. So you have two realities running at once. California reality. We're royals, our kids are prince and princess, we're global, we're important, we're reimagining monarchy. Palace reality. We have rules, you left, you made your bed, we won't tear up 100 years of constitutional practice for a podcast. And this is where Prince William comes in. Because whether people like him or not, he's the future CEO of this machine. And future CEOs don't want chaos baked into the system. Multiple reports and royal commentators have said the same thing in different words. When William is king, he is not going to keep opening doors for people who walked out. He has no intention of letting a half-in, half-out branch of the family use royal titles as marketing chips. He is already furious at the way Harry and Meghan weaponized their royal connection. That part is not a secret. And the idea that he'd just hand down HRH to children raised abroad, possibly not baptized in the court's church, not recorded properly, whose parents attacked his wife and the institution on camera. That is fantasy. And that's the part Meghan and Harry didn't clock early enough. They thought emotion could win. They thought public sympathy, racism discourse, we just wanted to be heard. The firm didn't protect Meghan. I was trapped too, would be enough to make the monarchy bend. But the monarchy doesn't bend to emotion. It bends to continuity. Meghan and Harry said the palace was cruel and outdated. At the same time, they begged the palace to acknowledge their kids.